Autheirship, a framework for self-inherited identity. Before discussing legacy, reinvention, or personal growth, there is a more fundamental question that often goes unexamined. How does identity continue over time? Most modern systems treat identity as episodic. You become something, then you move on, then you reinvent. In this model, continuity is accidental. The past is either glorified or discarded. Growth often requires erasure. But there is another way to understand continuity, one in which identity is authored and inherited deliberately, rather than reset or abandoned. That framework is captured by the concept of authorship. The root idea. The term authorship is constructed from two sources. The root auth comes from the Greek authentes, meaning one who acts on their own authority or originates an action. This root underlies words such as author, authority, and authentic. The word heir comes from the Latin heres, meaning inheritor or successor. An heir does not create the origin, they carry it forward. Combined, Autheir describes a person who inherits what they themselves authored. Using this construction, we can describe a different relationship between growth and continuity. Autheir. An author is a person who deliberately carries forward their own authored identity across time. This includes values, standards, principles, direction, prior commitments. An author is not defined by constant reinvention. They are defined by continuity with intention. This does not mean resisting change. It means change does not require self-erasure. Autheirship. Autheirship refers to the condition of being an author. It describes a mode of identity where growth builds upon prior selves rather than replacing them. Continuity is chosen rather than assumed. Evolution occurs without fragmentation. Autheirship is not static. It is cumulative. A person in autheirship edits themselves rather than restarting. Autheiritance. Autheiritance refers to the process through which self-inheritance occurs. Unlike traditional inheritance, which is automatic, autheiritance is selective. It involves evaluating prior authorship, retaining what remains true, discarding what no longer applies, carrying forward identity without nostalgia. Autheiritance explains how a person can evolve while remaining coherent. What this framework is not. Autheirship is not nostalgia. It is not tradition for its own sake. It is not resistance to change. It does not freeze identity. It stabilizes it. It does not glorify the past. It prevents unnecessary erasure. Why this matters. In cultures that reward speed, reinvention, and visibility, identity often becomes fragmented. Autheirship reframes growth as accumulation rather than replacement. It asks a different set of questions. What version of myself deserves continuation? What must be carried forward rather than abandoned? What remains authored even as circumstances change? These are not questions of branding. They are questions of continuity. Closing thought. Autheirship is the practice of inheriting oneself deliberately. It allows change without collapse, growth without erasure, evolution without fragmentation. This framework does not reject transformation. It simply refuses to treat identity as disposable. And once continuity is restored, growth becomes coherent rather than reactive.